Echo and Narcissus, compiled and animated by Zach Pettiwala. A long time ago in ancient Greece, up on the wild lonely mountains, lived the nymphs and fairies of the hills, and among them all, one of the most beautiful nymphs ever was called Echo. Echo was friendly and fun-loving and liked by all. She was also one of the most talkative and enjoyed talking for ages to her many sisters and friends. Nevertheless, no one ever complained that she talked too much because Echo was so much fun to be with and everyone loved her. One of the other nymphs was having a secret love affair with Zeus, the king of the gods. Zeus was the most powerful and strongest of all the Greek gods. Often the couple would meet in a secret spot in the forest, far away from the jealous eyes of Hera, Zeus's wife. Echo was asked to stand guard outside the secret spot in the forest and was told that her most important job was to keep Hera away from the secret spot. Every time Hera came to see what Zeus was doing, she was always met by Echo, who kept talking and made Hera listen for hours on end to her stories and her gossip. Before long, Hera heard rumours that her husband was having an affair, and she was determined to find out which nymph was tempting her husband away. One day, she followed Zeus into the forest, and as she neared the secret spot, Hera saw Echo nearby. Echo tried to do her duty and tried to distract the goddess by striking up a friendly conversation with her. Zeus and the nymph heard Hera's unmistakable voice as Echo was busy chatting with her and managed to escape before they were discovered. When Hera discovered that her husband had gotten away, she was furious. She decided to punish Echo, even though Echo had played no part at all in Zeus's affair. In a high, shrill voice, the Queen of the Gods announced, "Young lady, your chattering has done you in, and you will be punished for it. From this moment forward, the only words you will ever be able to utter will be exactly those words, no more and no less, that other people have said to you first." Echo was very upset. She had not meant to make Hera angry. She had only been helping her friends. Now she was burdened with an unbearable punishment, especially for someone who loved to talk. It seemed like nothing could be worse than silence or being doomed to repeat someone else's words. Distracted by her thoughts, Echo suddenly found herself near a beautiful pond. There, sitting at the water's edge, was the handsomest young man Echo had ever seen. Desperately, Echo wished to make conversation with this youth, whose name was Narcissus. But since she had no way to talk to him, the young nymph hid herself behind a tree and watched to see what he was doing. When Narcissus was born, he was the most beautiful baby. A prophet called Tiresias said to Narcissus's mother that Narcissus would live a long life, but only if he never really knew himself. Narcissus was so good-looking that people were constantly falling in love with him at first sight. He was tall and naturally strong and attractive. However, women seldom approached him because of his flaw. He wore about him a glassy pride that kept people away. Thirsty from his long walk, Narcissus decided to stop at the pond for a drink. As he stood before the still water, he saw the most beautiful face staring back at him from beneath the wet surface. But when he reached down to touch the beautiful person in the water, the face got blurry and quickly disappeared. Narcissus was so saddened at the disappearance of the beautiful water person that he burst into tears. A few minutes later, he looked into the pond. There was the beautiful face looking back at him. This time, there were sad tears streaming down the handsome face. Narcissus felt sorry for the beautiful water person. He reached into the water to try to comfort him, but once again the water person disappeared. Suddenly, Narcissus heard a rustling in the leaves near him. He did not know that Echo was hiding nearby. waiting for a chance to attract his attention. Narcissus called out, "Is anybody here?" Since Echo could only repeat another's words, as Hera had commanded her to do, all she could manage to answer was, "Here, here." "Then come to me," said Narcissus. "Come to me," replied Echo, running to Narcissus. She put her arms around him, but he pushed her off him. "Get off me," he said. "Leave me alone." And with that, Narcissus turned around and fled. Echo sobbed, "Alone, alone, alone." Poor Echo was consumed by sorrow. Her heart grew heavy and her body pale, until all that was left of her was her voice, which the wind carried to vast empty places. Forever after, it could be heard echoing across lonely clearings. Each time Narcissus tried to touch the water, the beautiful person disappeared. Narcissus did not realize that there was no person living beneath the surface of the water and that he was actually seeing his own reflection. There was only Narcissus sitting on the bank looking into the pond. As the sun set behind the trees, Narcissus could no longer see his reflection in the water. Calling out to the person he believed to live underneath the surface of the pond, Narcissus cried, "Wait, you are so beautiful, I love you." All he heard in reply was the sound of Echo's voice repeating his words, echoing through the forest, "I love you." And so the prophecy of Tiresias had been fulfilled. Narcissus had learned to know himself, and his awful torture began. He did not want to eat or drink or even sleep, and never moved from his spot. Narcissus finally understood. He was the object of his own desire. He said to his reflection, "Always we shall be together, yet always we shall be apart. I have loved you in vain." Once again, Echo took his words. "I have loved you in vain," echoed all around him. Narcissus lay his head down and closed his eyes and died by the water's edge. When the people from the village tried to find Narcissus, in his place they found a delicate white and yellow flower leaning over the edge of a rock, gazing at its own reflection in the water below. They named this flower Narcissus.